So I've just got to the car park where my route starts from today, and this is my first tip. Okay, so tip number 1 is safety. Quite an important one. I would make sure that you always tell somebody what your plan is, where you're planning to go, and what time you're expected to be back, just so that someone can keep an eye out in case anything were to go wrong. But one thing that I always recommend to people starting out on solo hikes is when you get to a car park, so I've just arrived in the car park where my route is starting from, send a pin of your location to a friend or family member. And you can do this on WhatsApp. There's a little plus button next to your chat, and you can drop a pin, or you can share your live location. So if that makes you feel a bit more reassured that somebody can keep track of your live location, then that's worth doing too. I think there's other apps. I know there's Find My Friends, and there's probably other stalky apps out there where someone can kind of track your live location. So that's always definitely a good idea if you want someone to know where you are. Another benefit of dropping a pin from your car is that on the off chance that you get a bit lost, or you maybe finish your route somewhere that you didn't expect to, you can actually then click on that pin and follow the directions back to your car. So it's really handy. I've definitely once or twice ended up finishing my route somewhere I didn't plan to. Once I ended up in the complete wrong car park. I thought I'd done a loop, but I'd ended at the wrong car park. So following that pin back to my car was extremely helpful on that day. So yeah, dropping a pin is one of my first suggestions, and always making sure that somebody knows where you are. So one other thing I would recommend before going out on a solo hike is doing some research around mountain rescue and distress signals and safety on the mountains or in the hills, just so that you are clued up on how you would get yourself out of a tricky situation if you ever found yourself in one. So I've been hiking for almost 2 years, and thankfully I've never had to call mountain rescue or found myself in a difficult situation like that. But it only occurred to me a few months ago that I wouldn't actually know how to call mountain rescue. I'd never actually thought about it. So I did some research, and I now know that it's dialing 999 and asking for mountain rescue through the emergency services. But it's easy to just not really think about that stuff until you're in the situation and you suddenly realise you don't know how to get yourself out of it. So I did some research, and I would really recommend doing the same. Also, potentially carrying a whistle with you. The official distress signal is 6 long blasts of a whistle. So again, if you're out on your own and there aren't many people around, you've got a whistle. It's just an extra element of safety in case you need to get attention from somebody. Just brush up on these things, and you can go out knowing that if you did find yourself in a bit of a tricky situation, you have the knowledge to get yourself out of it, which is always really important. So tip number 2 is location, and I would really recommend, if you're just heading out on solo hikes, to not go too crazy, not try and do anything too big, like any mountains. I would just recommend sticking to some local hills, even going back to do a route that you've done before with somebody else, so you don't have to worry about the navigation side of things. And just get used to being out and about by yourself, getting used to that feeling, because I know it can be daunting for some people. And if it is, then I would also recommend sticking to the more popular paths, popular hills or routes, especially on a weekend that are going to have a lot of people around. If you're a little bit nervous about being out and about by yourself, then that will give you that added reassurance that there are people around, and if anything were to happen, or if you needed some help, then there's lots of people around to help you. So that's definitely my advice in terms of location. And I think if you're also wanting to familiarise yourself with a route, if it is a new route that you haven't done before, then I would recommend researching it on either YouTube or Instagram, just typing in the location or the hashtag, having a look at some videos on YouTube or looking at some pictures on Instagram or stories, just to give yourself a feel of the area and give yourself an idea as to what you're going to expect when you go to that place. And then you'll just go into it with a bit more knowledge and a bit more confidence that you know what to expect, and you can just enjoy it, and hopefully you get a day like this. One of the best things about solo hiking is that you have all the time to yourself, and you can choose when you sit, how slow you go, how fast you go, and how often you want to just sit and take in the views, which for me is quite a lot. Okay, so tip number 3 is navigation, which is quite an important one, especially if you're going out by yourself. You need to know where you are, where you're going, you need some kind of reassurance, whether that's in the form of a map and a compass or a phone and an app. I know the argument that maps and compasses are obviously a lot safer. If your phone were to die or if you were to lose it, then you're a little bit stuck, as I have discovered before. I've just dropped my phone down here. There it is. Actually, I need it to get down. I don't know my route. If you can use a map and a compass, then that is incredible. I cannot, and I've been hiking for nearly 2 years. So it is something that I've been planning to learn. I have had courses booked over the past year, but all of them have been delayed due to lockdowns, which is extremely frustrating. So I've had to rely on my phone, and the map reading and the compass skills are something that I'm planning to pick up in the near future. But I think if you're just starting out, then I think the phone is sufficient, and as long as you take a power bank with you, very important, because you will use a lot of battery if you're using your phone for navigating and taking photos. So some apps that I would recommend, which I started out using, are All Trails, View Ranger and Komoot. These apps are great because you can search for a route on the app and it'll bring up, usually in most places, it'll bring up a variety of routes you can follow with different lengths and different times, and it'll also usually rate them moderate, easy, hard, etc. And you can also download your route so that you can use it offline. So if you go into an area that you don't have any signal in, you can still use this route, which is extremely helpful. Because a lot of places that we do walk don't have signal. So I would recommend downloading those apps and familiarising yourself with those. The one that I use now, and the only one I use, is OS Maps, which is the official Ordnance Survey maps. It is one that you pay for, and it is one that you have to have a bit of a deeper understanding into map reading to use. But navigation is an important one, and I would definitely recommend spending some time watching some YouTube tutorials or reading up on some blogs or some websites. Just get yourself a little bit more confident with navigation, and maybe start plotting your own routes as well. So once you've been on a few and you've followed a few routes, then start plotting your own, and you're just a lot more confident in your navigation because you've plotted it yourself. You're not just following a route that someone else has set. So definitely get some experience in following routes on different apps, and then if you enjoy the solo hiking and you want to continue it, then I would recommend possibly even booking onto a navigation course, and I'll share some links in the description below for some courses that I know, and that will just give you that deeper knowledge and understanding of map reading and using a compass and navigating, so that you're a lot more confident when you're out hiking and you can just enjoy it instead of worrying about getting lost. I had to put my raincoat on because it's drizzling a little bit, but that brings me on to my next point, which is provisions. And I would really recommend on your first solo hike taking more than what you think you need. So extra water, extra food, extra snacks, warm clothes, dry clothes, spare socks, just anything that you could possibly need, so that whatever the weather, whatever circumstances you find yourself in, you've got plenty of what you could need. I tend to use a water bladder because I just find it easier to drink through my reservoir. I am just lazy and I don't like taking my backpack off to get my water bottle out. I do usually keep a Lucozade or energy drink in the side pocket, and I usually take some chocolate bars or some sweets for energy, and nuts, fruit, things like that, usually a sandwich or something for some carbohydrates. Always make sure you've got a power bank. That would probably be the top of my list for provisions. Mine is currently hanging off my camera because my camera's dying. So yeah, power bank is essential, and just extra kit. Just bear in mind that even if you think you're going out for an hour or two for a short walk, the weather could mean that your walk is longer. The weather could be nicer and you could want to sit and enjoy it and take more time. You could get lost or go off track a little bit and add more time onto your route. So always make sure that you've got plenty to keep you going, for kind of more than you expect to need it for. I actually also have this little essentials kit, which is just a bag full of everything from wipes, hand sanitizer, tissues, little sachets of nuts, energy gels. I've got these heat pads, I've got blister plasters, regular plasters, painkillers, hair ties, contact lenses. I have a fear of being mid-hike and having a contact lens fly out and being blind. So I have like just every little thing that I could possibly need in this little pack, which I just keep in every backpack I have. So that's a good idea. It's always good to be prepared. I've never really had to use any of it. I've never lost a contact lens, but yeah, it's good to have. And the little hand warmers, you can get hand warmers and feet warmers to put in your shoes or your gloves. And if you're anything like me and you get freezing cold fingers and toes, they are a godsend, especially in winter and even in the start of the spring months when it's freezing cold outside. I always have a few of these in my backpack as well, so worth thinking about. But yeah, power bank, food, water, energy drinks, extra clothes, dry clothes, waterproofs, spare socks, blister plasters. I have a video out on what to take on your first hikes. If you are really new to hiking and you want some ideas of what to pack, then go and find that video and that'll give you more of an idea. Down from the summit of Sugarloaf. The sun has come out, the rain has stopped, and it's beautiful now. Okay. My fifth and final tip for solo hiking is really just to have confidence in yourself and believe in yourself. And I know that it's easier said than done, but just let go of any fear of making mistakes or having your hike go wrong, because it happens to the best of us, and it's good when it happens because we learn from it. We learn from our mistakes and then we can put things into place to make sure it doesn't happen the next time. Not every hike is going to be perfect. Some are more enjoyable than others, some are more difficult, some have terrible weather, some you have a terrible route. Most of them are great, and I think believing in yourself and just taking that step and having that confidence to get out there and do it by yourself is a really huge thing, and I'm certain that you will enjoy it and it will be one of the best experiences that you can have, because it's enjoyable, it's liberating, it's just good for you, it's good for your mind, it's good for your body, and yeah, it's a great experience. And so I really hope that this video helps and that you can get out on your first solo hike and you can enjoy it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I really hope it encourages you to get out on some solo hikes of your own. And if it does, please tag me in them or share them with me so I can see. I'd love to see that. And please subscribe and share this video if you can, because it might give a few of the people that nudge that they need just to get out on a solo adventure, because I think more people should do it. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing some of your adventures. Bye!